If you're over 40 and you can't seem to lose fat no matter what you do, there are very specific reasons as to why that's happening. I'm gonna break down what it costs to fix them and tell you what most trainers are unwilling to tell you. By the end of this video, you will know if this is even fixable for you, how long it actually takes, and whether you should hire somebody or try and do it yourself. This is the no bullshit, honest truth that most fitness influencers will not tell you. So what I've written here on the board are the 5 reasons why you can't lose fat after 40. And I'm writing them down because I need you to see this. Reason number 1, it's the wrong approach. Reason number 2, you have unrealistic timeline expectations. Reason number 3, hormones. That's a hot topic. And then reason number 4, not enough time or lack of recovery. And finally, with number 5, nobody told you the real cost of getting in shape, losing fat. Now, let me break down each one and tell you what to do about it. And I'm going to tell you things that other trainers in the space will not tell you. And they might even get mad at me for sharing this with you. But I think we all deserve the truth. Everyone thinks that their metabolism is destroyed, but the truth is your basal metabolic rate, BMR, drops by 1 to 2% each decade. That's like 20 to 40 calories every day. Not much. The bigger problem is that you've lost 5 to 10 pounds of lean mass, which burns 50 to 70 calories a day. You're more stressed, which increases cortisol levels and makes you store more belly fat. You're sleeping less, your recovery sucks, you're tanking your insulin sensitivity, and you're doing the wrong type of exercise. Most people over 40 think that you have to do more cardio and eat less. Move more, eat less, right? That is the exact opposite of what works. We're gonna break it down. I'm gonna erase this because you guys need to see what these reasons are that make it so difficult to lose. Here's what nobody wants to tell you because they want to sell you some sort of quick fix. What you should expect as you're going through the process is the following. Weeks 1 through 4, you're just gonna feel better. You're gonna feel less bloated, you're gonna have more energy, you're going to notice it. You may not see it in the mirror, you may not see it in pictures, but shit is happening. Now, in weeks 5 through 8, you actually start to look better. Your clothes fit better, you're more confident in how you appear, and then it's in weeks 9 through 12 that others start to see your progress. And then finally, in weeks 13 through 16, if this is a 4-month journey, you see significant transformation if you've done it right. If someone promises you faster results, they're just gonna tank your metabolism or cause muscle loss. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm gonna give you the BS-free truth. So then we have hormones. And what affects most men over 40, if I can get this off here, is low testosterone. Your testosterone is deficient, and this is very common across the board, even for those in their 20s, but 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, you're dealing with a lower testosterone level than ever before. So do you need TRT? This is viewed as controversial by some. Some people call it cheating. I do not. I think if you are deficient in testosterone and you're a man, where we are so dependent on having that drive almost every area of life, then you'd absolutely must do TRT. You have to get optimized. Without that, you're gonna be looking at an uphill battle just trying to maintain the muscle mass that you have, let alone build it. So how do you know if you're deficient? Well, if your total testosterone is below 300 and you have symptoms like no energy, low drive, low libido, you can't build muscle, and even depression, then yes, go see a doctor, talk to them about it. If your testosterone falls between 400 and 600, then there are some natural remedies that you can use to try and optimize that as much as possible. Things like better sleep, weight training, proper nutrition, an adequate amount of calories, stress management, and fixing micronutrient deficiencies that might be impacting your hormone. And what's realistic? Well, you can expect to see about a 100 to 200 bump in your total test. I'm not anti-TRT, I am completely for TRT. In fact, I believe that every man over 40 needs TRT. Then we move on to the next principle, which is time, and you have a busy schedule, so how can you possibly take the time to eat properly and work out? Well, most of the time we are overthinking it, so let's break it down. If you think about the things that you need to do each day, each week, and the time associated with each one of those things, you start to realize that it doesn't take as much time as you think. So you break down the training part of things, and that is probably 3 to 4 hours max per week. Then you have meal prep. Let's say you do this 1 day out of the week. That should only take about 2 hours on a Sunday. You set yourself up for success. It's the fastest form of fast food. Your sleep needs to improve. You need to budget your time for that. Get 7 to 8 hours per night that are high quality, where you're going into REM and into deep. And then the last one is walking. Just walk 30 minutes per day. And you can break this up into 3 10-minute walks, 6 5-minute walk, 2:15s, or 1:30. It doesn't matter how you do it, but you need to get it done. The second reason or excuse why people can't lose fat over 40 is because of the cost. They think that it's too expensive to lose body fat. So let's break down what the actual costs are to eat healthy, to train your body, exercise, and get you optimized. So you've got the gym, which is gonna run you anywhere from 20 to at the very most 150 per month. And you've got food. For one person, it's usually $400 to $600 per week. Supplements, if you take some, which I do recommend, about 50 to $80 per week. Blood work, which you definitely need to do, you're gonna be running yourself between $350 and $500, and in some cases less, and if you have insurance, obviously it's just copay. So what this comes out to be is anywhere between $500 and $800 per month. But the thing about that is that you are already spending a lot of that money, but you're spending it on other things. If you eat out all the time, then I can tell you your food bill is much higher than that. So you can say, well, maybe I don't have $500 to $800 extra to spend per month, but what is the cost of doing nothing? You're gonna continue to have low energy, bad libido, worse health, more medications, and reduced quality of life. And that's not even talking about longevity. Now, it's not the cheapest thing in the world that you can do, but it is definitely worth it. So I wanna show you a few people that have actually done this. Real clients, real numbers, real results. So I'm gonna break down who these people are, what their circumstances were before they came to me, and what we were able to achieve in a fairly short period of time. So the first one is Gardner. I'm just gonna put a G there for him. Before he came to us, he had hopped around from trainer to trainer, trying different approaches, trying to build muscle, trying to lose fat, and just really get optimized. He was jaded from working with other influencers or other coaches that promised them the world, and it didn't happen. By the time I was done with him, he had built a jacked, lean physique, as you can see in the picture, and he has maintained that to this day. In fact, on his 50th birthday, he sent me a gym selfie where he looked absolutely phenomenal. Then the next one, Jenny, I'm just gonna put a J there. She had had a couple kids. She was a busy business owner, very, very busy, lots of stress. She had put on some extra body fat. She was feeling sluggish. It was affecting her confidence and her business. We got her on the right nutrition plan, the right cardio and training plan, and boom, this is what you see as an end result. And then there's Jim, who is also a very busy business owner, very stressed out, traveled a lot, had kids at home, and his biggest complaint was his energy. But when he got into this program, it completely changed his life. He has so much more energy now. He looks great, has more confidence, is in a better mood for his kids and for his wife, and he's off any and all medication. So what's the actual protocol? I'm gonna give you the framework right now. Let's write it down, take notes, take a screenshot. Step one is getting baseline data. So yes, you need to get blood work. You need to look at your total testosterone. You need to look at lipids. You need to look at total and free testosterone. You need to look at your lipid panel. You need to look at what your thyroid is doing, just TSH, free T3 and T4. You need to look at fasting insulin, HbA1c, and then your vitamin D and B12 level. It would be good to get a body composition test. You can get a DEXA scan if you got one available to you, or there is a great home scale by Hume Health where you can actually get a fairly accurate reading on your body composition. And when you're starting out, you want to take a log of the food. Write down everything that you're eating without changing anything. And then after that, you just need to monitor your sleep quality. If you're not measuring it, there is no way to optimize it. Step two is you need a proper strength training protocol built for someone over 40. And for this, I advise 3 to 5 weight training days per week. You need to have a lot of compound movements, you need progressive overload, and you need to make sure that you are resting and recovering between sessions. So compound movements are things like squats, deadlifts, bench press, overhead press, rows, pull-ups. Progressive overload just means that you're adding weight each week. This builds muscle, which in turn boosts your metabolism. Step 3 is nutrition. You want to aim for 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. Fats should be about 0.2 grams per pound of body weight, and then the rest you fill in with carbs. And the makeup of those calories should come from 80% whole unprocessed foods without a label. The other 20% you can get from processed sources or even restaurants. You just need to make sure that you're controlling the calories. Step 4 is assuring optimal recovery. You want to sleep 7 to 8 hours in a dark, cool room. You want to have a 30-minute walk every single day. You need to find ways to manage your stress. And then hydration should be about 1/2 ounce per pound of body weight. Sleep is a non-negotiable, 7 to 8 hours minimum. Step 5, you need to track and adjust. You can have daily weigh-ins, daily body composition tests, photos at least every other week. Adjust calories at least once a month, and then retest your blood after 12 weeks. This is the protocol. It's not sexy, it's not a secret, but it works. So knowing all this, you basically have two options. You can, one, do it yourself. You can take this protocol, implement it, track your data, adjust as needed, and it is completely doable if you're disciplined and analytical. Option 2 is to get a coach. If you want accountability, personalized programming, and someone to interpret your data and make adjustments accordingly, then hire a coach who specializes training people over 40. And there's always the third option of just doing nothing. It's a valid choice too, but you gotta understand the costs. Declining energy, worsened health, low libido, low drive, more medications, reduced quality of life. All of that has a price and a cost too. If you found this video helpful, just hit that like button, comment, leave me something down below. I post daily content on fat loss, on muscle building, on human optimization, especially for men and women over 40. Real protocols, real data, and no bullshit. And if you know somebody who's over 40 struggling to lose body fat, share this video with them. They need to hear the truth just like you did. And just remember that just because you're over 40, it doesn't mean you're broken, doesn't mean that you're too old, it doesn't mean that you can't still build muscle and lose fat. You just need the right information and the willingness to do the work.